Hi, how you doing? This is A.B. Sharpton with ePro Developments, a real estate investment company out here in the South Carolina, Columbia area, and also the Columbia County of Georgia, otherwise known as Augusta, Georgia, more popularly known. We're checking out the progress of the sewage plant. If you haven't been following me on Facebook, I've been giving an update over the last 6 months since this project first started of what's taking place here at the sewage plant in Grovetown. We showed where we broke ground, and then we had a lot of situations where we just updated and progressed through the process of building this sewage plant for the small Grovetown area. It's a high windy day today. We're going to take advantage of the better weather. Finally, it's been pretty cold, and my biggest, not concern, but the whole purpose of this particular streaming is to take a look of tank 3. You see we have 4 tanks here. Just 6 months ago is just a little hole in there, and with the help of Juan and the other fellas, the incredible crew we have there with Maxfoot Construction, we've accomplished this much work in a very short period of time. Now, this is the easy part. Now comes a lot of the detailing, and we're going to get the equipment in. We got a couple of the buildings that's getting finished now. We actually had a building being built around some of the equipment that was placed in it. Let me let you take a look at it. We're passing by my normal station, and coming up on the building 1 as you enter the work site, where we have there goes the Grove crane, alternate backup crane, a lot of the other fellas use. This building was in fact just a space not too long ago, and what we did first was drop off a press. Let me see if I get you a good look at that press. You see the press is actually covered over now, and okay, we got to slow everything down. I'm out of practice. Get everything going nice, cinematic effects. See if we can get you appreciate this a little bit better. All right. So I have to actually be a bit more quiet so I can concentrate on the task at hand. Flying and commentating at the same time tends to have its challenges. Now I can be a bit more free here because it's pretty open. Pretty open construction site, as you see. I don't have to worry about running into too many things. Ironically, it'd be funny if I ran into that big fella. What would I do? The crane. For the most part, though, it's a nice clear area, just a tree-lined area, and it gives me an opportunity to check out what I don't normally check. I just sit in the crane all day and do what I have to do. But now we get to see the staging areas. It's a primary purpose, and a lot of piping was dropped off this week. And we get to find out what was going on with that as well. I'm going to have to adjust some of my settings because it's really responsive today. And you do want it to be responsive if you're going in performance mode on your drone. But if you just want to peruse and get some nice shots here, don't want to make folks dizzy, we want to make it look pleasurable. And again, once you get the sensation of flying yourself, that's why I call it flying with me. Now we got Julie in command here. Julie Andrews is the name of my drone because of the cinematic effect you get from the movie Sound of Music on the German Auschwitz mountaintops. We got to see these wide open spaces and these great shots you had of wide open spaces. And so hence Julie Andrews. Now that must have been one hell of it. They must have been working after the fact, because see, we're here at tank 3 and then numbered from left to right. From this position, 1 would be the upper left in the diamond pattern was shaped in. The one at the top is 2, then back closer toward the camera. 3, where you see what looks like a giant fan inside, and to the far right is 4. We had tons of equipment coming what was the day before yesterday, and I just want to see how it all went down. Man, I mean, we worked for quite a while. That's a little bit better. There we go. I mean, we put in a number of different fans and equipment and piping and stanchions and stations and everything coming up for, and this is going to be the storage area for that, because that's primary rule number one in construction. You want to know all your access points, storage points, places where you want things to go and ways that you can get around it and be kept while you continue construction. Okay, now where's the big boy at? I don't want to run into myself. That would be a hoot. Alright, where we at? Should be just to my right. There we go. And then some. Let's back up a little bit. And that's where I sit at all day, every day. Alright, so as you see, the tanks are done. Equipment's been dropped off. We have the bricklayers coming in and doing a lot of brick work. As you already seen, the building being constructed right around their piece of equipment. And of course, a number of other spots. Believe it or not, we still have 2 more tanks to go. As you see, all the rebar that's been already caged out here. And we're just ready to start that process after we rebend our forms. The forms are all designed for the big 4 tanks. We got flex forms in 2 by 12s, 2 by let me see, 2 by 12s. That's right, 2 feet high. Actually, more like 4 by 12s. Yeah, by 12 feet wide. Where'd they go? They were right. Whoa, guys are working. We had a pile of forms right there. Somebody got overtime and I didn't. I'm gonna have to talk about that. Where are the forms? Where are those forms? Again, we had the flex forms, as you see, that gives you the capability of building something like this. These tanks are 22 feet deep, and it's an 85 foot in diameter, which makes it about 269 feet round in circumference. I already showed you that one, but this is what the detailing work. We got the guys getting up the scaffolding, and what they're doing is they're filling in the she-bolt holes. The she-bolt holes basically are the holes for these double-threaded. I'd say they're about at least 2 inches in diameter and about 18 inches long. And they thread through from one set of forms, the inner forms, to the outer forms, and then of course you tie it together and allow them to be held in place with the threads with nice big butterfly screws and spacers, and tied to perfection so that they can be held together, the forms, at the exact distance and exact shape of these tanks. As you see, the tanks are about 2 feet, let's say about 1.5 feet, 2 feet wide. And then you see what took place here is that we already got piping in, we already got backfilling taken care of. As you see from this shot, it goes a lot deeper than that, and then what happens is we backfill with sand and start building up the ground again, putting the dirt back where it was. Right below us is where the large culverts and piping that have already been encased in concrete, because obviously when these things get working, there's going to be a lot of movement, a lot of shaking, a lot of rush of different fluids going through there, and we don't want these particular pipes, which you'll appreciate better in this shot. Go back up. And we see the piping that the tanks share. 2 piping coming out of each tank going down into a common culvert, very large pipe, and then up and out. Then they all get surrounded by these 6-inch wide pipes that thread all the way around, basically at 20 feet, spaced 20 feet apart. Then you got this rebar because it's going to allow for some skywalks, I think. I haven't seen the plans particularly, but I believe it's skywalk or concrete, they said. But that would mean that all of that's going to get built, it's going to be backfilled all the way to the top as high as that rebar goes. That I want to see, because it doesn't match with the grade. The grade is dictating that it's not going to go much higher than it is. And this is the main grade right here. That's, of course, the spoil pile where all of the tanks were excavated. And you see the grade, how it's sloping, but it's all part of the build-up process. And eventually, again, still to be determined based on just visuals, not knowing the plans, that the grade is supposed to go all the way up to that rebar, or something is. Alright, so we get to answer a lot of questions over the last week for myself about what's been going on, because again, I just watch from the crane and work together with anybody who needs the crane. And as you understand, with all construction, there's tons of things going on simultaneously, so I don't get to see it all. And now it's my opportunity to take advantage of that and see that and then some. And what we're going to do is we're going to even get a chance to peek at what's going on at the other site. But let me take one last look at Tank 3 again, so I can get a real good sense of how that looks. And okay, that's what we got here. All the forms, all of the flex forms are being staged into position for the last two tanks that they're being built down here at the eastern portion of it. Which means, yeah, people came in on Friday, and it wasn't me. I'm jealous and a little annoyed. That's very good money to miss out on. But why do we talk about sewage plants, and why are we touching on this area that would seem totally disconnected to real estate investment? Well, part of your due diligence is to find out the numbers. It's all about the numbers. You want to know what your comps are. You want to know what your repair costs are. But you mostly want to know what the area is going to be supporting them in the future, in the near future, which is why you also go to the board meetings and see what the future plan of the area will consist of, and if the population will be increasing, i.e., well, what do we got over here? That looks good, flying. Okay, well, now we're getting back into the housing. And it looks like this...
Maximum flight altitude reached.
Okay, let's go back down then. Very good. It was at 400. I have to watch myself, because we are maxed out at 400 feet. Anything higher, you're running into a lot of issues with outplanes. Getting a lot of high wind symbols. It is windy, 10 miles an hour, but it seems a lot windier, gusting a lot more than that. But no, they smoothed this side over. Everything's all done. And that's where Dan stays at, inside of one of those RVs. One of the RVs seemed to be missing, so that might be his. He said that for the first time in a long time, he's now a lot closer to being home than he usually is, which explains why we have a whole lot less overtime. Because he goes home, and nobody else wants to say they're all salary guys. You gotta have a big picture at heart, keeping your men happy. But there's a bigger plan in place, so hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more of that overtime as we continue on. There, the big RVs. Somebody's hanging out today. This is the actual sewage. Some of the waters gets tipped on. No way. Sorry, I promised I wouldn't do that, but I guess I lied. Let me bring it back so I don't annoy you too much. How long have we been at it? 15 minutes. I only got 15 minutes on that. It's been a while since the last recharge, but not as quite as long as it's been a lot lately. We're going to be picking up a lot more viewing with Julie and checking out a lot more sites. Matter of fact, we're going to have a part 2 today when we go downtown and do some overhead drive-throughs. We're going to drive by the railroad. We're going to drive in and under a couple of little trick maneuvers in the downtown area and try to have some fun. So let me get out of here so you don't have to listen to this beeping, and I appreciate you hanging out with me. Come fly with me. This is Alton B with ePro Developments, real estate investing out in the Columbia, South Carolina, Columbia counties of Augusta, Georgia. Wishing you the best weekend that you could possibly have. Have a great day.